Welcome back to the DNA Pest Control Podcast. I'm going to call this part 2.
It is part 2.
It is part 2 for sure. After the first episode that you guys already listened to about growing and how to ask for more money, how to ask for a better position in your company, me and Aaron got to thinking about really what does the back end look like? Mm-hmm. You know, what does behind the scenes look like? So many guys are in their truck. They're focused on spraying houses. They're driving a vehicle. They don't really see anything outside of that. They may be at the office once a week. Mm-hmm. They may see their manager once a week.
Yeah.
But that's about it, you know? And then sometimes guy leaves, then it's like, okay, now there's time for you to be in that position and we're going to make you that guy. Right. Yeah. But I don't think there's really any explanation of what it takes, what it looks like, you know, really for you guys to run a route. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody really knows. And I didn't really know, to be honest with you, before I got into it. You know, I was knocking doors. I didn't know what the guys were doing. I knew they sprayed houses, but you know, and I knew what the service was because that's what I explained to sell it, but that's it. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand anything behind that. I didn't know what it took for vehicle wise. I didn't know the equipment. I didn't know the chemicals. I didn't know the office. I knew nothing behind the scenes. And I think that's really important to understand. You know, after we got done talking about that and really what that means is we want to give that back to you guys and explain a little bit about what the behind the scenes looks like that keeps your company running and keeps you in a truck and doing stops. Yeah. Because I think so much of that is just overlooked.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. It's the driving force that keeps all of us on the road out of jail, you know, keeps us able to keep continuing to do stops.
Yeah. And I think that's exactly where it sits. It's just guys just don't know.
Yeah.
You know? So we're just going to hit a few points. We would love your feedback on this. If there's something you want me to jump in or you want us to jump in even further in, we'd love to do that. We're just going to kind of skim the top of it. We're not going to get very deep into it because every company is a little bit different. We're going to really talk from our perspective and our, you know, from where we sit. And we want to give that back, but that's going to at least give you an idea of what that may look like. And from the office side, this is actually great. You know, we'll start there because so many guys call the office. They just don't know what the office does. Mm-hmm. And even office staff, and I'm sure the ones that are listening that are in the office are going to laugh because guys think they don't do anything and they're just sitting around waiting for a technician to call, and that's what they do.
And that's what they're there for, right?
Yes. And we've had it here in the office is, you know, we've had guys call and call and call and call. And I've had people come to me and they're like, what do they think? Like, I don't do anything. Like I'm just waiting for their phone call. So we want to talk a little bit about that. And when you were in the office, Aaron, what did that look like? I mean, you were taking these guys' calls.
Yeah. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have that 6 months in the office before getting my license. I got called about a lot of stupid things, honestly. Seriously, from what I remember. I mean, it was a while ago, but I remember basically having to, on the guys that weren't doing what they're doing, it felt like I was babysitting in terms of making sure, are they getting up on time? Are they going to hit their time frames? Are their customers paid for? Do they have to collect when they get there? Are there notes that have to get put in? Do I have to reroute their schedule? Did somebody cancel their appointment and not, you know, does a tech know that they canceled the appointment with whatever software you had? I mean, those are just some of the few things I could think of.
Yeah. And that's exactly what guys don't understand. Mm-hmm. You're out there running a route, and what do you have is you have your phone and you have your truck. Mm-hmm. That's it. Not a lot of people are calling your phone unless it's customers, and depends on how your company's run. But here, nobody calls their phone. You know, it doesn't happen. You're not having customers blow you up.
Yeah.
That's all getting directed towards the office. The office staff and overseeing the technicians just on the, remember, we're not getting in deeper behind that, but really just to skim the top of what the office is doing is they're overseeing your guys' routes. Mm-hmm. They're making sure and taking on calls. They're scheduling on you. So they're going to be putting your day. And if there's a scheduler, they're putting your day in order typically. So if you're jumping out of order and you're, wondering why they're blowing you up, that's why. Mm-hmm. They put it in order and they tell a customer, hey, he should be there in the afternoon. And then you decide to hit that customer first or decide to hit that customer last. That starts to create a little bit of a hiccup, right? Mm-hmm. There's a reason why it's in order and there's a reason why it's set how it's set. But that's what they're doing. They're taking on inbound calls. They're talking to customers who are pissed off. And by the time you get there, the customer's not mad anymore.
I was going to head on that, but great point.
Yeah, well, that's happened a lot. Even with me, who took the phone call and went to the customer's house in the same day.
Yeah.
It's always fun. Mm-hmm. But that's what's happening. There's so much behind it that it's, you are running that. And when we talked on the first episode about staying in your lane, focusing on being a tech and what you're doing and what your responsibilities are, that's exactly why. Yeah. Aaron, you just said it. I got up. I was wondering, are they going to show up on time? Are they going to be there? What are they doing out in the field? Are they hitting their time frames? What's going on? That is everything that they're doing. They're keeping an eye on you and making sure that this is, that your day is progressing smoothly. So can they add another one? Can they take one off? Do they need to shift it to another person? Do they need to call that person because you're going to show up late? Mm-hmm. They may message you and say, did you already call that person? Yeah. So they're overseeing literally what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You think you're out there on your own and nothing's happening. There's a lot of eyes on you without you even knowing there's eyes on you.
Yeah.
So it's more than just running a route and doing your stops. The office is really handling the main bulk of that behind you.
Right.
Wrong information is put into an account. They're correcting that information. The payment doesn't work. The payment doesn't go through. There's a past due. They're collecting on that. They're making sure that that person is ready to get that service and going through. Notifications are coming in. Why did my day change? Why is that person on this day? Why is that person not on this day and on that day now? Understand, customers will call and say, that day doesn't work.
Yeah.
So when you're out there and you're like, oh, I know this person. They're right next door to each other. Yeah. We know that too. Mm-hmm. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
If they can't do it on a Tuesday, what do you want me to do? Move your entire day to Tuesday and then that Wednesday to or whatever. We can't do that in some cases. So understanding where you sit as a technician is without seeing the bigger picture like the office can see and what they're dealing with. You get what you get, and there's not much that they can do outside of it in some cases.
Sure.
Some people are a little bit more strict and company policy allows them to be. Other companies, it's a little bit more lenient. But depending on that structure, that's kind of just not too far deep, about an inch thick into what the office is dealing with. So you guys get to see behind that, the customer side, there is a lot going on in the background. Mm-hmm. Did you want to put anything else on that?
No, the only thing I was thinking of is the office is always getting the knee-jerk reactions from the customer. Like you forget to leave the gate open, you sprayed something you weren't supposed to, you called too early, you did something wrong. I guess sometimes if, depending on what position you are, how things are structured, you will take that, but say 99% of the time, the office is getting the worst end of it. They're the ones that are taking the phone call with the customer screaming. They put it on your day. You get out there to resolve the issue. Customers are a lot more calmed down because it got it out of their system. So,
yeah, and it's true. Yeah, you're not getting the front force of everything that the customer has.
Yeah, like I just paid you guys all this money and there's still ants. What the hell's going on? And by the time you get there, you're the hero,
Yeah, you're there to take care of the problem. And the office was there just getting all the heat.
Exactly.
So there is that there. And, stepping from that, you get into assistant managers and quality control, and what does that, because I feel a lot of guys do not understand that at all. Mm-hmm. They see it. They know it's there. They know it exists. But they're just running a route. You know, they just have the stops on their day, go get the day done, and that's that, right? Yeah. I mean, at least here, which is nice, you don't have a lot of responsibilities.
Bingo.
You know, and that's just the truth behind it.
Yeah.
You're not calling your customers unless it's a 30-minute call ahead. You don't have to. It's really nice. Yeah. You're not scheduling your own accounts. You don't have to. It's already done for you. You know, your day's already pre-planned. It's all ready to go. The only thing that you have to do is be prepared. So we've made it really nice. You know, it's just go out and get the jobs done.
Yeah.
There's no need to actually do much more than that. It would be a mess, honestly, if too many hands were doing it.
I agree.
But we also have technology too, because I get it. If you're running on paper,
woof.
Oh yeah, it'd be hard if one person was doing all of that.
Jeez.
You would definitely need multiple hands in that. But with the systems we have, one person can control a big majority of that workload. But with that, management is there, and there's so much behind that guys don't. Once again, they don't know. I see it as I'm the only one that exists, and so when I call you, you got to help me now.
Yeah,
you know, like I don't know what to do now. And so what does that look like on the manager side? You don't have to get too thick into it, you know, but just as the very top, you know, for a guy who's looking to get into management, understand this is what they're going through.
You just said it. You're not just managing yourself, which is what you're doing out when you're in a route vehicle, when you're in route teching, just doing your X amount of stops a day. You have to manage or oversee, at least if you're doing the technician managing, what everybody's doing, how efficient are they being, are they inputting notes incorrectly, if you're selling as, you know, the account or technician manager, are they taking care of your customers? And then you yourself, you have those contacts calling you in the midst of all that. I think the biggest thing though, that you say when you say like guys don't know what's going on, I think it's what separates people is to go out and be a solutionist, to go out and actually resolve the issue and make the decision and end it there. And what I mean by that is if you're a technician and you're going out to respray a house that has ants, or you're going out to a restaurant that has something pop up and you're retreating for something, there's not a ton of responsibility and ownership that's necessarily required because you're going there to just do your job. Whereas if it advances to the third and fourth level as a quality control or technician manager, you have to come up with the answers because you're looking back and you're saying, okay, we charged them this much and everything we've done has sucked and all eyes are on me. I have to come up with a solution. You have to be able to make that decision in the field. And yes, obviously I will reach out to you in some of the crazy ones, but you really are, I don't want to say on an island because you do have support, but in those situations, you have to be self-sufficient. You have to be able to make those decisions, make them quickly, make them accurately, and then move on. Because like you said, after that appointment, after the quality control, I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, shit, okay, 2 missed calls from 2 different texts, got a message here, got an email from one of my customers that needs the quote yesterday, you know, and it's just like you have to be able to prioritize where that focus and intent is on your day to day.
Yeah. And that's the other thing as technicians, when you're out there running that route, that's why we talk so much about learning, growing, not getting paid a couple bucks more, right? It's you're actually trying to better yourself in all aspects, right? In all levels. It's you're being a solutionist out in the area. You're finding out what those solutions are, answering your own questions that you may have for management, digging into a label to figure out what that answer may be. That's what we're talking about because managers, they're overseeing multiple people. They have multiple people calling them, trying to find an answer, you know, all at once. On top of that, right? On top of managing their guys, they're also hearing everything from the office. Why? Because you guys may be screwing up and any complaints that are coming through are now having to go to the management. Right. So now management has to go to you and correct an issue. Okay. If there's and there's good guys, we actually have some that are, you know, proactive and they actually come out and say, hey, I did this happened. I'm letting management know prior to the office knowing. So when the office does call, we're like, yeah, we know. Right. So that can happen, but that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
There's so much behind management. It's not running a route. And that's where guys, you know, I feel capped. I know everything. How much more can I do?
Yeah.
There's a lot to do when it comes to just pest control, route teching, assistant management, and up and, you know, above that.
Sure.
There's a lot going on, but it's now moving from labor and hard work to mind.
Yes.
And taking and prioritizing, like you said, what's going on, who do I need to take care of, what's happening. I'll even go, we'll stay on management. We'll talk about, you know, some of the other stuff here in a minute, but that's what we're talking about. You need to understand management is much more than running a route and doing a good job and showing up on time. The guy doesn't show up on time. There's sensitive accounts that need to be completed. Who do you think does that? You think it just magically gets done? You know, somebody's doing that job, whether it's a fellow technician that's out there or it is management that has to come in and take care of it because it's an important job.
Yeah.
It's because a massive restaurant just prepared for a treatment and that guy decided to call out.
Yeah.
You know, someone has to show up and do that or they lose big clients, right? That's what we're talking about. You want to be reliable. You want to grow. You want to know those things. This is what's going behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You're not just a tech anymore. You don't just have a day created for you ready to go.
Yeah.
You want to go into management. You want to be assistant manager. You're now overseeing those technicians. You're now making sure that they're getting those stops done, that you're helping them. You're training them. You're writing them up. And they could be friends. And you have to sit down and talk to them and say, you screwed up. And this is what you screwed up on. Here's your write-up.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. You want to talk about growth. That's what that looks like. It's the hard conversations. You start to do things that people don't like to do. And that's why they run a route.
Exactly. Exactly.
And some of them make it that far and they actually come back down because they don't like it.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable. It's hard situations. But that's what we're saying is when you're looking at this and you're saying, hey, I want to grow. I want to be more. What is the office actually going through and how can I make their life easier?
Yeah.
What is management going through and how can I make their life easier? And how can I learn what they're doing and being a part of that?
Yeah.
That I can be, hey, have them call me about certain treatments. I can tell them what's going on. Like that's a huge help.
Yeah.
I've had guys call me and I'm 3 hours out of town doing a job. I'm like, I can't help you, man. Like I'm out. I'm gone. Like we've had an emergency. Something came up. I'm out of town. Like, what do you want me to do? The soon as I can help you is within 3 hours.
Yeah.
And that's if I leave right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not leaving right now. So what do you need? You know, and how can I help? Or is it something that you can take care of?
Yeah.
That's what that looks like. They're not just sitting around at a desk inside an office, just bullshitting and hoping, you know, waiting for you guys to call or waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot going on. And what Aaron did say is you're managing yourself. You're on your island. You know, that's another thing that guys don't know as they start to grow is before you were told what to do on a consistent level.
Ooh, good point.
Yeah, well, you were. You had structure. You have the days made. Everything's ready. Have you ever shown up and not had anything to do?
No.
Well, I should say it a little bit different. Have you ever showed up and you had to figure out what to do?
Well, of course.
Well, I don't think they have.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
I know you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that is the hard thing, right? But have they? You know, you're a route tech. What do you do when you show up? You're management now. You show up and there's nothing to do. You got nothing to do. You don't know what you know.
How much
like,
time you got?
Yeah, you got 8 hours. Like, what are you going to fill that with? Like, that's the difficult things.
Yeah.
That's what guys don't understand. As you get into that management, it's not just brain dead movement anymore.
Yeah.
It's not just body. It is now very much the mind,
Yeah.
and you have to find something to do. You are finding something to take care of. You're finding something to fix, to make sure that everything's going to go smooth tomorrow.
Sure.
You sit around today, it's all messed up tomorrow.
Exactly.
So what are you doing during that time? That's what that management looks like. We'll take a little step further, and this may be a little bit out of your realm, but equipment,
I'm getting better at it.
You are getting better at it. But guys don't understand that either. Like, I got a call last night at 5:30, 5:45. My backpack's leaking everywhere. Like, it's all over my butt. I don't know what's going on, and it's like, okay, I don't know what you want me to do right now. I literally can't do anything.
Yeah.
You have 2 stops left. You're an hour away from me. Like, what do you want me to do? FaceTime me. Okay, I can FaceTime you. I can kind of troubleshoot a little bit, but I don't know, dude. I got to get my hands on this thing. I got to figure it out. That's the stuff that we're talking about when we say, what are you doing on your free time? You guys have the vehicle at your house. Have you ever decided to just let me look at this a little bit deeper than what it is? Have you ever thought to ask, hey, how does a B&G actually work? How does this backpack sprayer that has a battery in the back actually function? Have you ever guys looked at that stuff? Have you ever unscrewed one and actually just thought let me take a look at the guts? Let me just see what this thing actually looks like and how it works. Those are the things that you can do. You have the power to do.
Yeah.
Those are the things that actually I appreciated very much. I don't know how they did it back in the day with some of the old techs. Dude, those dudes would just figure it out. Like, it literally didn't matter if they had 100-foot hose and smack dab in the middle there was a hole. It was like, I got to figure out how to fix it. And they literally would fix it.
Yeah.
And then you would find out 5 years later,
that they have it.
Dude, well, it's like, what the hell's wrong with your reel? And they're like, oh yeah, 5 years ago there was a hole, and then I had to fix that, and then I fixed another one. It's like, you need a whole new hose.
Yeah.
Like, how did you even get this far with the hose that you have? And they would just make it work.
Right.
That was some of the good stuff I appreciated from some of those. I'm serious though. Like, I would see some stuff and I'm like, dude, how the hell did this not fall apart on you?
Oh, I believe it.
It's like they're duct taping wheels together just so they can drive on the freeway. It's like, dude, it's like, come on, man. But that's some of the stuff that you guys don't see. Backpack sprayer doesn't work. Come to the office, drop it off, grab a new one. Okay, see you later. I'm out of here.
Yep.
It's like, that's it. You don't even know how it's fixed. You don't even know how it works. And then you guys are out there. It's like, oh, it doesn't turn on. It's like, well, your battery's dead. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. It's like, oh, okay. But that's how much is going behind it to keep you guys running. And when you talk about growth and you talk about growing and learning and getting better, it's pull that equipment apart, look at it, see how that's fixed, see how it works, understand it a little bit better, so that when something does go wrong, you're just fixing it. Yeah. Or you say, hey, can I come in and use the tools to fix it? I know how to do it. I know what's wrong with it. I just need to fix it. Yeah. It took me 2 seconds when this guy came in this morning, unscrewed a little piece, never even touched this backpack in my life, to be honest with you. It's the green Flow Zone ones.
Oh, yeah.
I've never touched it. I've never pulled it apart. I honestly don't know really the guts, which I'm preaching it, but I know all the other ones because I pulled them apart. Yeah. So they're all the same. It's just different setup. 2 seconds, found out hose was ripped. So we just had to cut off a section, reconnect it, good to go, test it out, perfect.
Easy money.
Been running smooth all day, haven't even heard a thing.
Yep.
So it's those things that guys don't understand. Is the value behind that is when you start to think that you know everything, you're capped, you're the best of the best, and there's nobody else that's better than you. Do you know how to fix your own backpack? Do you know how to fix your own B&G? Do you know how to troubleshoot it to see if everything's okay with it?
Yeah.
And you don't need to know it all. I'm not asking you to do that. It's progress. You need to progress little by little and understand and start to learn. I didn't know a lot of those things, and then I run into something new, and I'm like, oh, that's why. We got to one, you were pumping it up, and you're like, dude, it doesn't hold any pressure. I only knew that because one time, one guy had that unscrewed, and as they were pumping, it was pushing the plug out of the bottom, letting the pressure out.
Yeah.
I literally never had that happen to me ever.
Oh, dang.
Until it happened to that one kid. And then I learned from it. And then when you told me, it was like, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, because I had to figure it out. And I was sitting there with him and I'm like, dude, I have no idea what's going on with this thing. Yeah. So I'm pulling this thing apart. But that's what we're talking when it comes to equipment. You want to talk about vehicles, right?
Oh, good one.
You know, vehicles is another great one, is guys don't understand. And this is something that actually just gets the office girl here, just gets her pissed. She gets worked up, man. You want to get her worked up, you start talking about vehicles with her and what these guys have. Tex, you guys don't understand how nice you have it. Okay? You get to take a truck home and you don't pay for gas. You get to drive it to your first stop and you still don't have to pay for gas. Okay? You get to drive it to work without paying for gas. Okay? Not only that, you don't have to change the tires. You don't have to change the brakes. You don't have to change the oil. You don't have to get it fixed. You get a brand new truck when that truck dies. Because that's just what they have to do to keep the business running.
Yeah.
Okay? You go to the office side, they have to drive to work. They have to buy their tires. They have to pay for their brakes. They have to pay for their oil changes. They have to pay for everything that goes into their vehicle to get to work, to be able to work. Now, they do get other perks, right? They get to sit in AC. They have water very close by and a bathroom. Okay? That's what they get.
Yeah.
Right? You go back to the techs. Techs don't have to be on the clock 8 hours. If they get done with their route early, they can go home early. Office, they have to stay 8 to 5. Okay? Have to. They have to stay till close because we don't know if someone's going to call.
Yeah.
And we don't know if they're going to sign up. And there's a lot of stuff to do, like collections and all that. But you go back to that work vehicle. Sorry to do that little comparison.
You're good.
I want you guys to understand the differences because I don't think people get it.
No, not at all.
Especially if you've been in it for a decade, you know, and you're doing this and you don't remember what it's like to go have a normal job where you have to drive your personal vehicle. It's insane.
Yeah.
People don't get this. But when it comes to the vehicle itself, there's a lot of money that's put back into that vehicle to make sure that that thing is functioning and running. Like we have monthly tire rotation and balances. We have a company that comes and does that on all the vehicles. We have to. If the truck is down because it has to go get an oil change for an hour or whatever it is, or something breaks on it, there has to be a backup vehicle.
Yeah.
If there's not a backup vehicle, then stops aren't getting done. Stops aren't getting done. That means money's not coming in.
It's not good.
It's not good, right? So those are kind of the stresses and a little bit behind the scenes of what so many techs don't get to see.
Yeah.
They don't get to understand that. We get emails and things like that of businesses. I'm starting my business. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And see that it's great because those guys are running into exactly what we're talking about. You never made it to management. You were a route tech. You decided, hey, I'm going to go get licensed and start my own company. Great. What do you do when you have nothing to do now?
You don't have stops in your day. Now what?
Yeah. You're growing a company. Oh, your tire popped on the freeway? Oh, yeah, but it was really nice when you had to just call your manager like, hey, tire popped, still clocked in, I'm still getting paid. You don't clock out. It is what it is. I get paid for it. Not anymore.
That's true.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
And you got to flip the bill. They had to flip the bill. Yeah. Now you got to pay for the tow truck.
It's true.
Hundreds of dollars, you know? And it's like even AAA and some of the insurance companies only give you so many miles. And then after that, you have to pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, now what? Gets real interesting as it starts to go, you know? So you get to see that is the vehicles and keeping the vehicle clean and keeping track of all your chemicals, you know, and looking even with products itself, right? You go and do an order. And I remember the office lady, she actually did an order and she was like, is this number sound correct to you?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, well, what? And she's like, it's like $5,382. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds right. I mean, for what we're ordering, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. And she just was wide eyed, like, oh, okay. Just making sure. And it's like, that's what you guys don't see.
Costs money.
Yeah, it does. And it does. And you know, what's even scarier and I didn't know this, but there's companies that actually can't pay that. And I learned that from John. I don't think he would mind me saying it because, I won't, he never told me who it was or anything like that, but he just said there's companies that don't pay their bill. They can't pay for their chemicals. They can't pay for their product.
Ooh.
Yeah. Especially when you're getting a bigger bulk order because you need it and you have to have it, or you got on a big job and you can't flip that bill. That's the thing. It's like, it can be $5,000. It can be more than that. I've spent more than that on product, when I get a big enough order.
I believe it.
So that's the stuff that guys don't see. You're running your route. You have a backpack. You have a B&G. You have chemical. You have bait stations. You have a ladder. You need a new one. That's $200, $300. You start adding all this stuff up. Guys don't see how much go into it to keep you out there running. And then they come in and say, like we said in the last episode, they come in and say, well, I want to do that. Or it sounds like you guys need help here. The last thing we need is your help in that division. We need you to do your job. We've already put so much work and effort into it that we need you to stay in your place and do the best you possibly can.
Yeah.
And by the best you possibly can is, yes, we expect the vehicle to be taken care of. We expect the equipment to be taken care of. You going and cleaning it and keeping it in excellent and exceptional condition, that's a gold star.
Yeah.
That is showing that you understand and you're ready to take those next steps, and you're growing and you're learning, So it's huge, so from the office to management to vehicles to equipment. I'm trying to think of what else we're missing here. I mean, even marketing.
I was going to say, yeah. From a technician standpoint, they're not going to get involved in the sales realm, but that kind of goes with the quality control side of it too.
Well, actually, that's a good one. I mean, talk a little bit about the sales, because I don't think guys get that either. They go in, they screw up, they get the cancellation, and they don't understand what it took to even get that person on.
Yeah. I mean, it's a residential house. That's residential customer calling into the office, on someone who knows what they want and they've done their homework. You can usually get them in and off the phone, signing somebody up within just a few minutes. Some people who do like to talk, it could take way longer than that,
30, 45, yeah.
Honestly, if they're really getting set up, if they have lots of issues or multiple properties, you're setting up a lot of quotes. And I mean, even with that time spent there, you just showing up and doing the job and doing a piss poor job, pissing off the customer. Not only did you waste your time, the customer's time, the people in the office time, it trickles down so much more than just having a no-show or not completing a stop, because there was so much time and effort wasted because of actually what it takes to build that moment up for you to do the job, which is where you guys have the most effectiveness, is doing the job.
Well, let's talk about an apartment complex.
Oh, yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I want them to understand what it took to get that person on, because I think that's another thing that, they go out and they want to do somebody else's job, or they want to do everything else. And sorry to attack the tech so much on this, because it's not just the techs. I've had it where the office staff is like, well, I want to be like a hybrid. I want to be like out in the field sometimes when I want to, and it's nice and cool. And then when it's hot and muggy, I want to be in here because that would be really nice.
Yeah.
And they don't understand either, the other side of it and what's involved with that. But as a technician, we think we're capped. We can't grow. We can't do anything. There's no more room. And it's understanding, guys, just to get you into your position that you're in and running. Mm-hmm. That's what it takes. It takes literally a team of people to keep you in that vehicle just so that you have a job. Yeah. And that's where I don't want to belittle the position at all, because I do think, and I've said it multiple times, I do think techs should be paid more, but I also think they should be structured way different, and more responsibilities. But also, because of where we sit, there is so little that the technicians have to even think about and care about. Guys think they're doing everything, and it's like, yeah, but you're doing everything at a very low level. Mm-hmm. And what it took to get that customer, that one apartment complex, and I only want to talk about one. It's not like we got it in a day. Mm-mm. I mean, how long do these things take to get in?
Oh, man. I mean, if we're talking if things go smooth, I mean, it could take anywhere from like a couple weeks to a couple years, honestly. Like, I'm not even joking. And that's the cool thing, at least with the way Daniel and I approach it. We have certain umbrella property management companies. Let's say this company has 50 complexes or storage places in the area, and let's say we're doing about 30 of them, right? Because they had good relationships with other people and, you know, different owners, different management to get to choose who they want. Mm-hmm. So we're slowly getting these people on by showing up and providing results and gaining control of situations that, you know, we're just walking in after a different company is doing, you know, it's like 6 bed bug treatments on one unit, and this place is infested, and they're like, hey, this is your shot. We go through that. We go through the back and forth, and then we actually get this customer on. But that was just for that one apartment complex. But it's so worth it, though. All that time and effort is so worth it. And fast forward on the negative side, you know, that same company that I'm talking about, we actually had last year, we had an apartment complex pretty close here where we just got the manager to sign up with service for us for a 12-month contract.
Yeah.
About 3 months in, just having a lot of issues with rodents. So she wanted to walk with the property with me to see like what we could do differently. So I started walking with her, and, you know, I'm like, let's start checking the bait stations. And there's like 12, 13 buildings at this property and about 6 bait stations per building. I think maybe 5 were actually being like monitored, like the ones close to the office, the ones where they could see them, you know, and sitting there like this close, and the manager's asking me, so, you know, I signed up so that way you guys can take care of my issues, and, you know, I'm getting charged for you guys to refill these bait stations every time you're here. Why are they not filled? Yeah. And it's like, you have to answer that question. You have to eat that sandwich, you know, and you have to deal and come up with the solution then and there. But that's more on the extreme side. But I think the point is just shedding a little light on what actually goes behind putting these accounts in your days and putting these stops on your days.
And that's exactly what it is. It's, you know, one apartment complex to get signed up. If you're lucky, it can be fairly quick. Mm-hmm. If you're lucky, and if you're already in as a vendor and you're already in with that property management company and you know the manager, you can slide right in. It's nice. Most cases, if you're starting from scratch, it has taken us 6 months. It has taken us a year, you know, to get into some of these. And then once we're in, we start to grab more and more and more and more and more, but it's all months down the road. And where we need guys and where that growth comes from is everybody holding their position down and making sure I'm going to go out to this property that they just got on and I'm going to do the best possible. We're doing jobs at an apartment complex that we even had signed contracts for, and they backed out.
Yep.
They backed out of it, and we have not even had them on, and they're not even signed up, but we're still doing one-time treatments, and we're doing specialty treatments for them because they haven't signed and they haven't moved forward. And that was over a year ago.
It was
a year, and they still haven't signed up. That's the important, you know, that's the importance behind holding that. And that's understanding where you sit as a technician. This is going to hurt. This is going to hurt real bad, but this is all part of it because this is part 2.
Yeah.
And part 2 should definitely leave a little bit of a burn.
I like that.
Route technicians are entry level basic employees. That's what they are. You're a fry cook. That's what it is. That's what it is. But we have to have a fry cook. Mm-hmm. We need someone dropping those things. Mm-hmm. We have to. We need someone cleaning the bathroom. We have to. That's all part of it. Mm-hmm. But when you get really good at that and you're studying on the side, you soon can get to the point where you have your team. Yeah. And you're growing and you're overseeing a lot more. But that's where it is. You're coming in as a technician. You're a route technician. You're a basic employee coming in and you're changing garbage.
Yep.
That's what you're doing.
That's it.
You're doing the same thing over and over. Garbage can 1, 2, 3, 4. You check your route. You're doing it 6, 7 times a day. You're walking the facility. You're doing it over and over and over and over. Mm-hmm. And the same guy who did that over and over for a couple years is the guy who's hiring now to find someone to do that. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. That's part of it. That is literally the structure of what it is. But it comes with that reward at the end of it. Yeah. It is going through it consistently. Mm-hmm. And if you're prideful, and you can be a little prideful, and you love doing it, and you make it fun, you soon hit that position. You start to help that grow. Now, as a route technician, there is a lot that you can do. It's not just changing out garbage. Yeah. You can actually sell, you can upsell, you can do so much to help the company grow. So it is a little bit above entry level, but as a company itself and coming in as a tech, that is the entry level tech.
Yeah.
What you decide to do from there, you can actually up it. Mm-hmm. You're getting everybody to upgrade from a medium to large. Oh, hell yeah, dude. You're the guy, right? 100%. You're bringing in thousands and you're helping that, that restaurant, whatever, bring in so much. And that's the same thing here. But it's understanding behind that, you still have so much there. Getting chemicals ordered to make sure that you're running. Making sure your equipment is fixed and taken care of. Making sure the vehicle is running at the best it possibly can. Yeah. Guys don't care if there's freaking an oil change that needs to be done.
Doesn't matter.
I've been there. I hop in this truck and I'm like, dude, how long has it been on zero? And they're like, I think like 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what?
Which means you times that by 4. So it's like 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, dude, what the hell? This thing beeps at you every time you turn it on.
Yeah. Seriously.
But that's what we're saying is you have to be more responsible on those aspects. You want to grow, show it, prove it, do it. Step out of the norm. Everybody else is being lazy bums. Cool. Let them be. Who cares? Yeah. That's not you. It doesn't have to be you.
Nope.
Understanding what management is taking on and what they're doing, that doesn't have to be you. You don't have to ignore that and say, well, whatever. Help them out. Put in that extra work. Mm-hmm. You're going to be the guy that they're going to choose.
Exactly.
That's going to help you grow. Hopefully, this episode let you guys understand a little bit more behind the scenes of what management looks like and what goes into it. A lot of guys don't see that. They don't get to hear that. They don't really know what's happening in the office with management. When it comes to equipment, they don't get to see any of that stuff. They don't see prices of orders that we're ordering in and how much that costs. No one sees that. It's not really disclosed because it's not necessary, because that's, once again, they're trying to keep you in your position and doing the best that you possibly can do.
Yeah.
And that's why they do that. It's not because they're trying to keep it a secret. It's because we need you here, and we need you to do that. We don't need you to worry about this. Mm-hmm. But that's going to shed a little bit of light on that direction of what you want to do. And hopefully now with the season picking up and how warm it's getting with everything going and how crazy it is, hone in your skills now. Yeah. Because I'll do something else that's going to hurt a little bit. Wintertime is firing time in pest control. They get rid of all the guys they don't need. Are you going to be that guy? Are you that tech? Mm-hmm. Because it will happen. It happens every year.
Yeah.
There's a flood of guys that hit the market because the company doesn't need them anymore.
Yeah.
They used them to fulfill the summer needs, and now, go. We're going to save money.
Good luck.
Yep. And they solidify the guys that they have. They're going to fill their routes up. They get a nice, clean route. You get to go figure out a job, go to Walmart. They don't care, but that's what it is. They're just going to throw you away. And so you have to be able to say, okay, am I going to be that guy that gets thrown away at the end of this? Or am I going to be the guy that steps in and is going to make something more of it? Mm-hmm. And you just have to start now. It's June. Yeah. Start now. You're going to get till September, maybe October. Yeah. And then you're going to start to see some of your friends go.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that. But are you the guy that they keep on and hold you close because you stepped out? Or are you going to be the guy that they say, hey, go find another one? Mm-hmm. And it can be that.
I think so. I think so. So guys, if you did not listen to part 1, please go back and listen. It'll kind of make this episode make a little bit more sense.
There you go.
The idea of it is hiring season because things are so chaotic, and we want to equip you guys with some tools, a little bit more of a different frame to look through what you're actually doing, what actually goes on behind the scenes, where you can actually provide more value, and where what you thought provide value is nothing, So please, if you guys heard something in the office, you're on the sales team, you're in management, you have some extra ideas that you think the listeners or viewers would love, please let us know. You know, we love the feedback. We love the information. I mean, you can contact us on any of our social media. Obviously, the website has a little Dropbox where you can put the question right on there. Episodes drop every Monday and Tuesday. And thanks again for listening to the DNA Pest Control Podcast.